there's three challenges that we're facing most today, operating off the basis of fear. The luxury industry is an industry that has not been in tech for a very long time. It's actually been super low tech for as long as it's probably lived. And maybe 5 years ago, it got really accelerated. But technology and luxury just didn't really click before. It's so hard to keep up, right? Even if we're talking about AI or we're talking about extended reality or virtual reality or any kind of technology that we're using today to allow us to do our work better, if you add the fear factor to the fact that it's really hard to keep up, it kind of foments a paralysis in a lot of teams. Luxury is selling a dream, and once you can actually put that dream in front of someone, that's magical, right?
Welcome to Beyond Luxury, where we explore emerging trends and take them one step further. Join us as we redefine the meaning of luxury in today's ever-evolving world. Building on the themes of my book, Beyond Luxury, The Promise of Emotion, we invite thought leaders from fashion, beauty, wellness, travel, hospitality, culture, and tech to share their insights and story.
My name is Carlota Rodben. I'm an entrepreneur, two-time author, podcaster, and advisor, and I focus on shaping the future of luxury. I began my career at Chanel, where I founded an innovation team and many projects in regional and global levels, always having to do with innovation. And today I'm the founder of Beyond Luxury Group, a boutique advisory firm helping co-craft more desirable futures for companies across luxury space. So I am very pleased today to introduce to you Andrea Pavon, that is the head of advisory for Beyond Luxury. She will be moderating me this time, which I've done a lot of moderating today. A little bit on her. Andrea is a strategy and foresight expert specialized in consumer industries. She is the head of advisory at Beyond Luxury Group and helps brands and investment funds future-proof their strategies by applying strategic foresight and methodologies. She's built her career at the tech powerhouse and consultancy Accenture, where she led transformative initiatives from the world's most influential companies. There, she focused on technology and on sustainability for strategic purposes. Driven by her deep passion of creative and cultural sectors, Andrea has also expanded herself into the luxury industry through renowned institutions of Sotheby's and also l'Institut Français de la Mode. Please give her a warm welcome, and we will begin.
So, hi everybody. Bonjour. Wow, what a day. You must be tired, huh?
Yeah, what a day. We've learned so much today. It's been amazing.
Yeah, I think here and now we've seen how luxury is setting itself up for success in this new wave of innovation. And we've seen tons of things, right? We've seen how AI and immersive technologies are literally redefining how we operate. Just to give a few examples, we've just seen hubs, which actually scares me a bit of how well luxury brands are going to be able to understand their customers. But we've also seen how brands are empowering their employees with examples like Dior or Cambour. And we've also seen how luxury brands are bringing in customers into their brand story, their heritage, with experiences like Audemars Piguet, right? But with all that, there, of course, comes challenges, right? So my question to you is, what do you think are the main challenges that luxury brands face in transitioning to this tech-enabled experiential space?
Yeah, I totally agree that today was such an incredible day to see what is going on such different levels of luxury companies. And to go back to the essence of what luxury really is, I think we need to focus on what the essence and values of luxury are, which is experience, desirability, craftsmanship, creation, and anything that can propel that forward is essentially helping for a future-proofed luxury space, right? And so I would say that there's three challenges that we're facing most today. One that very pleasantly, I think today, changed a little bit of my perspective on that, is operating off the basis of fear. The luxury industry is an industry that has not been in tech for a very long time. It's actually been super low tech for as long as it's probably lived, until like 10 and maybe 5 years ago, it got really accelerated. But technology and luxury just didn't really click before, right? And so now there's, because of this unknown, there's a big sense of leading with fear on what's going on. Am I going to lose my job? Is this going to change everything? Will this temper the image of our brand, right? So all this fear coming out. So that's one of, I think, the biggest challenges. And what I'm really happy about seeing today is that a lot of brands are actually doing it head on and tackling that firsthand and doing incredibly interesting things with these companies. Then the second challenge is overstimulation, and I do not think that this is particular to the luxury industry. Overstimulation, I think, is happening to all of us all the time, nonstop, and even the most advanced people in tech were repeating it today. It's so hard to keep up, right? Because today your one thing doesn't work, and Sikar mentioned it this morning as well. One time something doesn't work too well, or if it's a little bit gimmicky, but then you try it again with the new update and it works. And so even if we're talking about AI, or we're talking about extended reality or virtual reality, or any kind of technology that we're using today to allow us to do our work better, there's always 1,000 other things coming to us, and it's really hard to keep up. And that is, if you add the fear factor to the fact that it's really hard to keep up, it kind of foments a paralysis in a lot of teams. And so lastly, I would say that what this creates is, in the third kind of part, is kind of a lack of confidence in decisions, right? And this lack of confidence in decisions of what tech to use, what tech to go into, what tech to not go into. I remember when I was in the luxury space that it was always like, we're not the first. We cannot be first to do this, right? And there's other luxury brands that would be first, and that are known for being first, and that are known for trying it all out. And sometimes they burn their brand, and sometimes they kind of temper it, and then they come back, and there's a lot of risk in that. But there's brands that are more risk averse, and there's brands that are more risk forward, right? So I think that there's this certain lack of confidence on what technology to use and why, because of this unknown, because of this overstimulation, and because of this way of leading with fear that is really harmful for teams and for companies. However, I think there's a very bright side, which is that a lot of companies are actually doing it. And I would say that Hennessy today completely blew me away with what they're doing, because luxury is selling a dream. And once you can actually put that dream in front of someone, that's magical, right? And that's what they've been able to do, create a dream that you can experience and you can immerse yourself in. And that's the power of technology.
I completely agree. And one of the things that keeps coming back is craft, like technology, craftsmanship. How do we make sure we protect it, right? And I think innovation in whatever field should always be traced back to your strategy, your strategic goals, right? So assessing use cases, like with a clear methodology, and then prioritizing what you're going to do is imperative. For example, what you just said, right? Hennessy. I mean, protecting the brand, your heritage, is what, like, probably every luxury brand's strategic pillar. So you cannot do anything that will harm that. Of course, there's other considerations, but I think that's imperative, and I totally agree with what you're saying. Looking at these challenges and looking at the amount of innovation or technology that we have at our hands, and that will come because, as Helen said, when conversions happens, use cases just blow up. What are the areas where you see most impact to address the challenges?
Yeah, so I think that I think all of these, first of all the technology can only help us go further, right? Because going back just 1 second to the fear factor, for luxury, quite honestly, there's nothing to fear because the worst thing already happened, which is e-commerce and a flat 2D website. That's probably the worst thing that could have ever happened to luxury experience, is to experience a 2D flat scrolling, looking at 2D products and clicking by, putting it on a cart and just purchasing like that. You've lost every single part of anything in the experience by doing that, right? So looking into what technology can now help us go and really be able to make a change, I see one opportunity in hyper-personalization at scale. And I think that today, actually, Helen had a really good example with Doji. With Doji, that it's an app that is still in beta mode, that she showed us a lot of her avatars. But basically, it's a digital twin of an avatar that looks exactly like you. And you, instead of doing try-ons, you're just dressing your avatar that looks exactly like you, and it looks like a photorealistic avatar of you. So you just try a bunch of clothes on your avatar and see which one is you, is something that you want to buy, right? So you see how it fits you, you see everything. And that's a super exciting, for example, use case that is showing us how technology can actually help us hyper-personalize at scale. You're not looking at a model with an outfit that might or might not fit you, but you're looking at it with your own avatar. Same thing with AI when you go into a e-commerce site, right? Normally what happens when you go into a boutique is that, or a luxury store, is that there's a human intelligence that comes up to you, greets you, asks you questions, and gives you an experience, tells you about the brand, and understands what you're looking for. Today, when you go on a e-commerce website, there's no one there to greet you, there's no one there to guide you, you're just there with a bunch of tabs, and you don't even know where to start. And if you're getting a gift, good luck, because where do you go, right? So the implementation of AI into the e-commerce websites, which will now become hopefully more immersive and experience-focused, will be actually to have an artificial intelligence that greets you when you come in, and that is able to understand what you want, that is able to know that it's your mother's birthday and she's bought there before, or she's bought in somewhere else. The same way as your TikTok algorithm understands what you've done before, or any other Instagram, etc. algorithms, this can actually understand what you're looking for, right? So that's on hyper personalization at scale. Then we can also look at this technology really pushing supply chains, which is a very big push on sustainability, allowing us to really know how many pieces of, how many SKUs of a product, or how many sizes of a piece of a certain garment a store actually needs and actually will sell. And also, what is the best route to transport that from the whole A to Z supply chain, with ingredients, materials, to production, and really allowing every single step of the way to be optimized, and to use AI to understand and predict what could happen, allowing brands to be so much more sustainable and allowing a lot less waste to happen. And so that's on the supply chain side. And lastly, one thing that I'm a big proponent of, and I kind of always talk about because I'm sure of this, is that AI will make us more human than ever. And a lot of times people, when they hear AI and I'm going to lose my job, we're all going to be, whatever. Maybe half of your job will be automated by AI, yes, but it's probably the half of your job that you hate doing, right? And it's the job that is not creative, and that is not sparking your interests and motivating you and stimulating you, because everything quite literally will be able to be replicated or done better than humans by AI, except for creativity. And once we see AI as a way to actually make us augmented humans, and this is also, I will talk about Helen again, Dr. Helen Papagiannis. She has a book called Augmented Human that I recommend a lot. And she has coined this term, and this augmented humans are really a direction where we're looking at ourselves like more than what we are today and being like a superhuman on what we do. Most likely, the thing that you're best at, AI is not better than you at. But the things that you're not so good at, most likely it can do better than you. And that's essentially, I think, once we think about AI in that way, and that AI is at the service of the creator and not of the creation, that is when we can understand that AI is actually here to make us more human and less robots and doing like Excel sheets and all this kind of stuff.
I don't like that either. Definitely. I mean, I don't think it's replacing what you say. It's just shifting responsibilities, and therefore your whole, and I speak from a more a like business perspective, your whole operating model will need to change. AI systems will do most of the work, some of the work. Humans, I mean, you just gotta look at the World Economic Forum reports on the future of jobs. A lot of new jobs that we cannot even imagine will be created. And so you'll need to find another way, like a fundamental change on how you operate a company so that these two components can work hand in hand, because they will be at the service of one another, actually, not replacing each other. So completely agree on the other topics you touched upon. Especially sustainability is something that is very close to my heart. And I think we can do way better, especially now with these technologies that have been here for a while, but hopefully now we'll just learn how to make things more efficient and less damaging for our planet. So just to close up a bit, what would you say are the main takeaways that we saw here today? And how can luxury brands navigate this evolving landscape?
Yeah, I think some of the takeaways that we can look at is, one, we really need to drive and be conscious as people working either in luxury or with luxury to cut through the noise. And this is actually also not industry related, but there's so much content out there, so much content that is valuable, but a lot more that is less valuable, and that we are completely being fed through every direction, and we really need to come back to that core of your sources and where you're getting information, and truly looking at information today, that we have incredible sources that are quantitative sources and incredible sources that are qualitative sources, that we still do the work in looking at short form and long form, but really integrating these two types of data points to create content that are valuable for these brands. And there's not a one size fits all, right? We need to be bespoke about what we're looking at, about where we're looking for our data, where we're looking for changes in trends, because things are moving so fast and it's so hard to keep up. It's like now our news is coming from TikTok, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and no one really looks at newspapers that much anymore. We just kind of read in diagonal or just the title, and there's such a loss of curated sources where we can get information. That's one of the places, the first thing that I would say that is super important for teams to really look again. Where are you getting this information? And in a world where education doesn't end ever. Before we went to college and it was done and then you learned in the job. Now we have to learn and revamp and reskill and upskill all the time, every day. This is super important to look at.
Definitely, we really see this with our clients, right? It's very important to look at qualitative data because experts are really important, but now more than ever, we cannot neglect data, right? And quantitative data. We're actually using an AI platform with one of our partners that shortens the time that an analyst takes doing an analysis from like 3 weeks to minutes. And we've seen this, it's really amazing. And
by the ex-head of luxury at Google, called Submarine AI, which is an incredible tool. We really suggest you try it out.
So that going back to my point, once you've analyzed what your needs are, what use cases you're going to pursue, it is extremely valuable to have this information, like not only very thorough information, but quick information, so that you can make quick strategic decisions that will put you on top of the curve, right?
Yeah, and going further on other points that we saw today, another one that is very important is cross-industry kind of blooming, right? When we look at cross-industry insights and cross-industry collaboration is really when we see the biggest innovations. And I always talk about this example because I think it's very kind of showing of it. But we never say, let me take a call on my camera. But we definitely say, let me take a picture on my phone. And there we see in two industries, one that kind of won and took over something that was somewhere else's and created one of the most used devices in the world, which are probably today smartphones. And that tool will be another tool in a couple of years, and maybe sooner than we think. There was Geoffrey Perez from Snapchat today. We were in a conversation, and we talked about the spectacles that they have for Snapchat, right? And looking at them as a new way of immersive experiences where you're not putting something in front of your face every time. It's quite an obstacle when you're in a conversation and you lift a phone and you lift a phone. Today we do it so normally, but there's all of these industries that can come together to create something a lot better. And when we talk about technology, sustainability, entertainment, culture, art, luxury, how can we take these different parts and put them together to actually create something better? That's one of the things that I think is most relevant today.
And to that, I'm going to quote Dr. Helen again. But I really liked, and I think it sums up what we've seen today here, really liked a quote that she put on screen. I'm going to read it. Preserve the soul, embrace the future. So literally what we're here for, right? We've got all this technology coming, but we shouldn't forget what's the soul of luxury, which is selling a dream, selling emotion, right? And to that, I think it's a good note to end the day. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure to interview you, Carlota, for once.
Thank you for coming on stage.
For weekly updates on future trends and the latest insights and data on the luxury industry, be sure to follow us on the Beyond Luxury's weekly Substack. Discover our bespoke trend reports and come to us for luxury futures consulting at Beyond Luxury Group.